Okay, now I'm going to show you an alternative to running the GDK locally. Same steps as previously, join the community fork. I'm just going to run through it super quick so you know, just in case you're skipping the local one. So this is the GitLab community fork. Make sure you join our GitLab community. So the way to do this, go to GitLab community, community members. You can also find it by Googling, asking on a Discord, GitLab community members. There's links everywhere. Join it. Okay, now you have access to the repo. You can you're a developer on this repo now. You can create forks, you can run pipelines, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, why you might want to use Gitpod, and what is Gitpod? So, I'll show you, so talk a bit about what it is first. Gitpod is a different company to GitLab. What Gitpod does is you can create a virtual machine, and in this virtual machine it only runs the bare minimum it needs to for this to work, right? So for example, maybe I don't really know how this works, you don't need to know how this works, but for example what it might do is instead of like loading Windows and loading your Mac OS, instead of loading all the operating system, all of that stuff, it runs like super basic. So it'll run like some version of Linux, and what it's going to do is it's going to install the GitLab community fork on a server which is running a virtual machine on the Gitpod website. Now, this does cost money. The free tier is pretty generous, but if you're working on GitLab stuff and you run out of minutes, please ask us. We'll give you minutes. Don't worry about it. So on Gitpod, the way you're going to do this is you're going to open the GitLab community fork, the project that you're working on. If it doesn't say Gitpod here, press on this little arrow. So there's two options, web IDE, Gitpod. We're going to do Gitpod. So we're going to click on Gitpod. It's going to ask us which repo you want to have a look at. We've come directly from there, so it's already included. Which editor do you want to use? VS Code. Now you can use it in the browser or in the desktop. Desktop, it connects to your machine. Or you can use it in the browser. Next is like how big do you want this? How beefy do you want this virtual machine? The larger it is, the faster it's going to go, the more minutes it's going to cost, and it's going to load. It's going to take a while. Because what's happening is it's creating a virtual machine. Then, on this virtual machine, what it's doing is it's installing the GDK. Yeah, so it's creating the virtual machine, it's creating the GDK, it's creating your own private virtual computer on the Gitpod website, on their servers. This takes a while. Maybe 5-10 minutes, see how lucky you are. But here's one I prepared earlier. So this is what happens after that comes through. So you're now on VS Code. We're going to switch to dark mode because what? Settings. You can treat this exactly the way you would on your computer. Alright, sweet. Cool, now I can read it. Cool. Okay, so you can treat this the same way as you would on desktop. You can also open it on desktop. You can see this message here. Do you want to open it on VS Code desktop? You can open it on this and it'll run here instead of your browser. I forgot to mention, the main reason why you use Gitpod instead of GitLab, well, there's two reasons. One is it's faster. Two is GDK can be a real burden on your computer. If your computer is not very fast, run it on a virtual machine. It's a lot easier, it's a lot faster. Okay, so we're going to close these for now. So what happens here is you'll see it's installing the GDK. It's important to know. You're going to run into this problem because you're creating a new version of GitLab, so it's going to ask like, hey, what's the password to log in? This is the password. And this is just doing like GDK start. I don't know why it's given this. So now we're on GitLab, we're in the GitLab development kit folder, and you can treat it exactly the same as you were before. GTK start, GTK, that's a bit small, too big now. GTK status, yeah, same as before. GTK update, get pull, get checkout, whatever you want. It's the same. So one difference is here it says GitLab available at this address. If we click on this hyperlink, it's going to show us this, but it's not actually running on your own computer. It's running on the Gitpod server. So then we're going to use our username and password to get started. Just wanted to show you how it works. Yeah, and now, yeah, same as before, same as running it locally. One really cool thing is you can use this to like, you can set this as public so that anybody can see it. You can also set your whole project to public, so then like you could share this with me and then I can look at it and we can live code together. Please be aware of this because this is logged in as me, right? So if I share this with you and you make changes and you push changes, it looks like I did it. So be careful when you do this. If you want to work out how to do that, you can go to the Gitpod website. You can log in, you can have a look at your dashboard, see what's running. We're going to delete this one so we don't waste any minutes. We'll delete this one in a minute. Inactive, this is a good point. So if you leave it for too long, if you leave it for like half an hour, it's going to fall asleep. It's going to take a while to come back on. If you leave it for 24 hours, it's going to be inactive. It's going to take a lot longer to come back on. If you leave it for 14 days, it's going to delete it. But we don't need this one because this was a test. So anyway, so if you want to like, yeah, you can make this public, but have a look on Gitpod's docs. It's pretty user friendly. I'll just make sure I haven't missed anything. So you know why use it if your computer is not very fast or you want to do something real quick. How to use it: join a community members, visit the fork, have a look at Gitpod, and then configure your settings. Just use the large one, go faster. GitLab's paying, don't worry. Yeah, open your workspace. It's going to take a while to start up. Once it's running, you can treat it like your own personal machine. Like this, it's very similar to like what you might see if we're running GitLab locally, the GTK locally. Yeah, so some other things. Yeah, instead of using on the browser, you can have a look on desktop where you're probably logged in and you've got all your extensions. But if you're like me and you can spell, you can use a spell check. You can, what have I done wrong? Anyway, you can install an extension to spell check this one. This is the one I like. And this all works, and because it's running a virtual machine. Anyway, install whatever extensions you want. Most of our ones are already automatically on there, like the GitLab one. Yeah. Anyway, what else? Treat it like normal. Other tips: remember to push your code regularly, because if you leave it for 14 days, it's going to delete it. If you leave it for 24 hours, it's going to take a long time to load up again. So push your code regularly. Yeah. And again, you're just going to push it to this project. This, not this one, but the GitLab community fork, not forum, fork. You're going to push your branches directly on here. So then they're available for everybody to see, and we can give feedback, and we can create a merge request, whatever you want. You have access. Cool. What else? customize your Gitpod the way you want it to be. Otherwise, you can just, oh, this is a good point. So sometimes if you update the GDK, it asks you to run this. Just run it. It's easy. It's a non-issue. It'll tell you what to do. What was I going to do? How to contact us? Community contribution. There's a lot of ways to find how to contact us. This is the main one. Yeah, ask for help like this. Okay. And yeah, troubleshoot as normal. GDK help, GDK status, GDK start. It all works as normal. Great. Okay. Cool. Have fun. Thanks.